Well, good morning, everyone. I don't know what the hell happened. Sarah, sound or is it me? I saw people say unmuted. I was talking up a storm. What in the world is going on? Earth to Brooks. Earth to Brooks. I didn't even put myself on stage yet. All right, back to what I was saying. You all missed a lot of genius. Kat was having a bad morning because she was worried that somebody grabbed OJ's Christmas presents. My question to Kat is, are they breakable? Because I got them, I put them on the couch, and he has already successfully knocked them off and is headbutting the boxes as we speak. So if they're breakable, Kat, you will have to have a talk with OJ about that. Who did I miss from the pre-party? I see Nufflin. Nufflin, did anyone hear anything from Still? No, I'm going to send her a text here in a little bit. I know she's been busy with work. True Crime Beats here. Preschool Granny's getting ready to go out of town. You never know. We have a lot of stuff going on around here. Real Rockin' Robin made it in. I cannot believe. Well, for one, we're having this cold snap, okay? We're used to this like in January, but it was like 22 degrees this morning. And I was like, not today, Satin. No way, not today. I've got shit to do. 22 degrees? Pretty chilly out. Hence why I'm going to make chili this afternoon for when DT Driver gets home. And speaking of the cold, for the people that are out tirelessly searching for Sebastian Rogers, bundle up, because it's cold. It's getting cold out there. I want everyone to take a moment. I'm going to come back to the gifted memberships to please welcome Walking Dead and Britt. They are the two people that cannot get memberships. And if anyone can, please roll out the red carpet for Walking Dead and Britt. We have to do that. Please make them welcome. You girls know I'm just teasing with you. True love has 4 paws. Yeah, sometimes those 4 paws really fuck you up, but I know what you mean. Gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lines memberships and then turned around and did it again. Woo! I see that. I see Walking Dead and Britt didn't get one. Looks like I'm going to have to play the music again to welcome them in. Well, y'all, this is very, very, very sad because today, Sebastian's turning 16. All right? We all remember being 16. You know, you get a new car, you have a big birthday party. It's like it's a big deal turning 16 in a child's life. Sebastian's missing. Where could he be? Like, really, where could he be? Several things have come out the last few weeks, few days, really, if you know the truth. Here's one thing. Texas Roadhouse verification. AtNight has confirmed that Chris Proudfoot was not present with Katie Proudfoot and Sebastian Rogers at the Texas Roadhouse on February 25th, 2024. Then they start talking about some dude in a green hoodie. Now, Michelle After Dark had a lot of stuff to say about that because, you know, when we come across someone We can easily be like, oh, hi, how are you doing? It's been unusually warm out, or it's going to get cold soon. I mean, it's just pleasantries. So I don't know what's going on there. I do not know. Nick the Hat said, I need to reach out to Janie Santana to request a copy of her playbook. It's being used here. Well, that's the woman that was hiding Rudy Farias for a very long time. I do not know where that is coming from. The whole thing is beyond sad. And failure after failure after failure after failure after failure for Sebastian really is upsetting. And it's upsetting right now with what's going on around the tube, if you know what I mean. He is getting labeled left and right by some people that don't seem to understand he has a special gift. He is not diseased. He is not violent. He is not inappropriate. He is not sexually inappropriate. But if he is so violent in all these things, then he wouldn't have just gotten kidnapped. Okay? He would have had a little fight in his kite, if you know what I mean. They say he keeps things to memory. Memory. Knows his dad's phone number. My suggestion is call your daddy. He'll come get you right now. He will come get you right now. We have learned recently 5 CPS cases. 5. This is what we've heard. I do not remember who sent this to me, but thank you for doing it. In the last week or so, we have learned at the end of 2021, the Proud Feets wanted to put Sebastian in a youth facility with troubling conditions and concerning treatment of children at the Bledsoe Youth Academy. Sick. How sickening. Yeah, Seth did refuse that youth facility. Sad fact of the matter is, and I'm not kicking Seth while he's down, so don't get it twisted. Had he been put in that facility, he'd be alive now. Okay? Chris Proudfoot had 5 different reports from 2022, all from the Proudfoot home. Let's also not forget the DCS report from New Mexico. Not a good dude. Not a good dude, in my opinion, and I agree 100% with our girl Susan. Please love your children more than you hate your ex. Britt said, what hoodie guy? Some dude in a green hoodie that was outside the Texas Roadhouse. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Actually, let's catch up on it because I do like what Michelle After Dark said because something here is not making sense, my friends. It's just not. Now, I'm going to not go through all of it because, watch it on her show. You know the routine around here. You know the routine. This is not my plan, but let's do this. Let's start with Michelle After Dark.
I just want to let you know, over on my other channel, Michelle Walks, episode 4 of Cold Case Christmas will come out tonight. I heard of Cold Case. All that said, let's get into today's video. So I've not talked about Sebastian's case for a few days because it's just an absolute circus. I'm sure you've heard me say that before if you've been following the Sebastian Rogers coverage on this channel. It's just crazy. I haven't talked about the email. I know about it, but I haven't talked about it because, I don't know, I think it's a bit of a nothing burger. However, this is what I want to talk about. This surely has to be a hoax. It can't be anything else. And look, AtNight Intelligence Agency, sue me. All right. Public update on the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. This is from
I love that. Good on you, Michelle. Sue me. Did you all hear the 2 shows yesterday? Did you all hear the show Wednesday morning? Yeah. Stacy Wandra, one of the prime, actually the prime suspect in Michael Vaughn's disappearance. Oh, he's wanting to sue a bunch of people. So I like when Michelle said, then sue me. Let's do this.
November 30th. This is a few days old. Like I said, I haven't talked about Sebastian for a few days. AtNight Private Intelligence is issuing an important update in the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who turns 16 in just 3 days' time. Our ongoing efforts have led to the preliminary identification of 3 persons of interest in connection with the events of February 25th, 2024. The night Sebastian disappeared. Well, on the Amber Alert, it says he was last seen on February 26th. There's a thread going on in my Facebook group.
Yep. And also the FBI said ties to Clarksville. That does not mean Seth had anything to do with it or anything like that. But if they have these 3 suspects and everything, please, 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 I'm begging you, let the authorities know. It's been too long. Today is the boy's birthday.
At the moment, if you don't know I've got a Facebook group, then go and check out the link in the description box. If you do Facebook, you're welcome to join. You've got to answer a few questions first. Look, the word last seen February 26th absolutely does imply that he was seen by someone on February 26th. Now, Katie said that she went to bed around midnight and Sebastian was definitely in the house then. I understand when people say, yes, but it says he was last seen February 26th, and therefore the cops must have it verified that he was on camera somewhere. That may well be true, but I can't understand why they would hold that back. Because if he was absolutely identified on camera somewhere, wouldn't they say so? Because that would be a specific area. They may not release the camera footage, but they might release that information. So I don't know. I don't know. But AtNight Intelligence Agency and their friend Dog the Bounty Hunter think.
Okay, I'm going to address a comment right now. Crazy cat lady, I'm one too. You got to see my crazy cat, and they're trying to open up his presents from his aunt cat. Yeah, I just said that. I'm a crazy cat lady too. Your name is Crazy Cat Lady. I have a crazy cat that is right now trying to open up his presents from his aunt cat. That's a lot of cats in one sentence. She said, I like Michelle, but she doesn't always get it right. No one does. No one does until it goes to trial. That's when we get the evidence, the information. She said, in my opinion, she didn't believe the Wells had anything to do with Summer going missing. True. That is her opinion. And I'm just going through, her opinions right now because she's thinking that this is a lot of insanity with what's being put out there without law enforcement backing it up. Now, it would be nice. It would be nice if law enforcement would come out and give an update. It would be great. I'm not saying give any information, but maybe it would calm some people down if they would just reiterate that we're working hard on the case, we're taking tips, and, not going to comment on all this other stuff, or comment on it and say, maybe so, or no, not true. That might take the fun out of it for some people, but you all are not the fun people. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, you're fun, but you're not the ones that are, salivating out the mouth to hear these things.
He went missing on February 25th. Now, I don't know how the green hoodie guy seen talking to Katie Proudfoot outside of Texas Roadhouse factors into this. I think it's all nonsense. If she did speak to somebody in a green hoodie, maybe it was exchanging pleasantries? Or is Katie Proudfoot not allowed to do that anymore? Okay. So person of interest 1, we have reason to believe this person has direct knowledge of what unfolded that evening and may hold critical information about Sebastian's disappearance. Person of interest 2, this individual is believed to be working with the first POI in some capacity and may provide valuable context or corroborating details. POI 3.
Now, I don't know about these persons of interest. I don't know about all this stuff because, well, they're not named, and I would just go ahead and name them. That's me. Personally, I would just name them. If law enforcement isn't going to pick up with the evidence you have, I would force their hand and say, this is what I've got. So who is POI 1, 2, and 3? And why are the authorities just kind of like, no, like they're just ignoring it altogether? But I would put it out there. This is our own investigation. This is where it's taking us. I would put it out there.
While potentially unrelated to the other 2, this person is believed to possess knowledge that could shed light on the events leading to Sebastian's disappearance. At this stage, we are not disclosing further details. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. All right. Well, there's that. But this is the absolute nonsense. This.
Okay, before we get to that, because I do like the way she put this together. I like to give credit where credit's due. They did mention one of the first private investigators that worked with Seth's team. And yeah, and that is what it has become. Team Seth or Team Proudfeets. 2 of the early investigators said they have absolute concrete evidence that Chris Proudfoot was nowhere near Hendersonville when Sebastian disappeared. That leaves us with one person, the person that was with him, and that is Katie Proudfoot. We also know when she was allowed to talk, Robin Rogers posted in many groups that she had a long discussion with the special agent in charge at the TBI in regards to Sebastian's disappearance. She said, I just want to clarify a few things and hopefully help stop some of this drama. I am so sick to death of all this, the trauma vultures out there and conspiracy theorists. I want all of this to stop and for the focus to be on where it should be, and that's finding Sebastian. Note taken. That's the reason we go through facts here. To some people, facts aren't fun, but I say that's what we stick to. It doesn't help Sebastian if you're not talking about what really went down. So these are the facts that she put out. No, I was not on the phone call. Number 1, TBI has interviewed both Chris and Katie extensively. 2, they have both been polygraphed and passed. Yes, Katie took more than one and passed. Then she says it does more harm than good to keep delving into everyone's background. Well, there's a reason she would say that, but I'm not going to touch on that today. She said, I understand the concern of whether Sebastian might be with his other maternal grandmother, but really, is all this necessary? Well, he's not. All of these people have been investigated. They have been questioned. Hey, and I'm not saying Green Hoodie Dude didn't follow them home from the restaurant. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know who Green Hoodie Dude is. At this point, anything's possible. Today's his birthday. He's 16 years old. Or turning 16 tomorrow. I keep getting different stories on when his birthday is. It's either today or tomorrow. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. He knows his father's number. He knows his mother's number. He understands 911. So where is he? Where could he be? The whole he just walked out the front door with no shoes never sat well with me.
Has to be a hoax. I just can't with this anymore. Now, some absolute clown who used to talk about the Summer Wells case tried this on. If you remember, back when Summer Wells' case was a circus. And oh, didn't we think then that it couldn't get any worse? Oh, and then Sebastian's case came along and it absolutely did. It absolutely did get worse. Yeah, someone tried this on in Summer's case, saying that they'd seen, like via satellite imagery, someone coming out of the woods near Ben Hill Road. Okay. And people believed it. Man alive. Come on. Come on. As I said in my Facebook group, when someone posted this overnight my time, I said, you need to go and find one of these machines. This is an MRI. It can take detailed images of your brain. You need an MRI because I fear that your brain might have fallen out. So
I didn't know Michelle was so damn funny. She put up a picture of an MRI machine saying some people need to have their brain tested. Well, it's come out. Our girl Spirit Seeker put it out. Here it is. Spirit Seeker, check her out. There's no confirmed sighting. And the thing is Craddock isn't even in charge of the investigation. But he's the one that gets all the hell, and I don't know why. Is it because he looks like Colin Farrell? I don't know.
Doorbell cam and surveillance camera. Have you guys been able, since Sunday night, Monday morning, been able to actually put eyes on Sebastian? Has any video actually shown him walking?
We have had several clips that have come in. Several of them we've been able to dispel that's not Sebastian on that clip. We are still working every lead that comes in. So as the video comes in, our detectives, we're working really well alongside the TBI and all of our other law enforcement partners in the region to make sure that we're getting on them just as quickly as possible.
But there hasn't been one video that you guys have had that you said that's...
There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Gotcha. So that's...
There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Gotcha.
There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera. There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera. There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Okay. There's not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera. You can't tell me that people in this very upscale neighborhood didn't have cameras. Where could he be?
There is not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Gotcha.
Was any of the canines able to pick up on a scent or something that can lead you to maybe a direction where he might have been?
We've done that. We've actually cast the dogs at intersections to see if they take us. And our dogs are scent specific, and we have scent articles from the home, and they have not. We have gotten some tracks away from the home, and we haven't had anything that leads us to Sebastian, obviously. We have gotten some tracks away from the home, and we haven't had anything that leads us to Sebastian, obviously. We have gotten some tracks away from the home, and we haven't had anything that leads us to Sebastian, obviously.
Any indication at this point of foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out.
We're not ruling anything out.
So by
In my opinion, it can only be foul play at this point. If he was not abducted, we know he didn't vanish into thin air. It's impossible. There is some sort of something foul going on. Seth's at work. The private investigators that were hired by Seth have said, no, Chris was not there. Nick AtNight said that he has confirmation that Chris was not at Texas Roadhouse. That leaves us with Katie. And I'm not here to say that Katie did something to him, because it seems, considering he's so hard to handle and he's 15 years old, that would be a little tough to do. I go back to my original theory. He never made it home. We had a woman that was in chat several months ago. She goes, I could just see Katie. I don't know if she knows her or not, and I didn't get into that. I could just see Katie saying, you've been on the last nerve all day, all weekend. Get out of the car and walk home. She came home, left the front door open, called Chris, had their 3-hour phone conversation, had her a few drinky drinks, went to bed, and then there's no Sebastian. Because we know the whole thud was a convenient makeup. Okay? She came up with the thud much later. I promise you, the police were never told about a thud. It's when she was being grilled by a certain creator that she conveniently came up with, oh, and I heard a thud. But for obvious reasons, I didn't want to go in his room. Yeah, as if he's in there spanking the monkey. Come on. I don't think he made it home. I think that is the reason that the dogs couldn't pick up anything. I think that's the reason that with all the Ring cameras and all the surveillance they have on their block, there's absolutely no capture of Sebastian. Now we go back to the flashlights. Hell, that could have been another 2 kids that were outside dicking around. Doesn't mean they were coming to kidnap Sebastian.
5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground. Searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere. Checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere. Nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken.
Nothing. No footprints. No video. No anything. I heard a thud. What time is it right now? 9:28 a.m. Central Time. I heard a thud right before the show. I got up to go see what it was. And it was my cat, OJ, knocking his very nice presents off the couch from his Aunt Cat. Yeah. You hear something, of course you're going to check it out. That's why the thud is made up. She has to place Sebastian back at the house with her. In my opinion, she doesn't have the nerve to say, I told him to find his own way home. I'm done dealing with him. And anything can happen in those woods. Question is, how come he can't be found? Drones, dogs, helicopters, people on foot. Can someone verify this for me? Did they do a grid search? I don't know. But it's damn sure cold now. So where are they going to find him? Leaves are falling. The whole 9 yards. And again, he's turning 16. Don't you think he'd want to be somewhere safe and warm to enjoy his birthday? And these labels, these autism labels, it's a gift. Autism is a gift. And I have heard a lot of things about this boy, this young man, that really turned my stomach.
And us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
2 questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Was it changing possibly?
Okay. As early as Wednesday of this week, because you know people hear things on the tube. They see things in the Facebook groups and they start dialing the digits. We know people have been calling the F out of that Texas Roadhouse. Shit, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. With the turnover you have in restaurants, You think you're going to call Texas Roadhouse in November, December, October, and ask them about the night that Sebastian disappeared to see who was sitting at their table. One woman offered to send money to get surveillance tapes. Yo, girl, what you going to do with them? Those need to go to law enforcement. Do they not? Kimberly Mann said they think they covered their tracks. That's why they say prove it all the time. They're very arrogant about it. They're very arrogant about it. And then this popped up a few days ago. Say his name, Tulsa, Oklahoma. All green, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We lit the night up in green. This is very sad, my friends. This is very sad. Let me tell you why. The Philbrook Art Museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have gone there, gosh, since probably I was like 6 years old. And look how dusty my ass is now. They have had the same light concept for years. They've had the same light concept before Sebastian was even born. Okay? It goes from green to purple to red, white, and blue, to all white and twinkly. Now, why on earth is this woman, and nothing against Sebastian, you want green lights for Sebastian? Put them on your own damn house. This green actually has a different significance, but I'm not going to get into it. I just cannot believe that somebody would make this up. How sickening is that? Why would you even say something like that? It's one thing to say, oh, I saw all these green lights at the Philbrook and it made me think of Sebastian. You know, that would be tear-jerking. But to say that the Philbrook Art Museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that I've gone to every year, forever and a day, I can't even tell you, to see their Christmas lights. They also have a whole green display at Rhema Bible College. I guess she hasn't made it to Broken Arrow yet. You dumb bitch.
The avenues of communication.
No, sir.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground, searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed, not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found, no footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
Checked out every case of a possible sighting, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed, not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found, no footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian. Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian. Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian. Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
Well, then what to do? I mean, really, what to do? Now, this to me was very, very interesting. This was clipped by Hindsight 2002. He clipped it from our friend Justin's channel. And again, I cannot say that old Katie Stinky Foot, I almost said Stinky Puss. Man, I'd gotten in trouble for that if I'd really said that, huh? I can't confirm that she kicked him out of the car or left Texas Roadhouse without him. I can't confirm any of that. But what they're saying is they can't find him. They can't find him. They can't find him. No footprints. No camera. No dog sniffing. Nothing. So again, I can't confirm that Stinky Puss threw him out of the car. But the fact that there's absolutely no evidence around his house when she called that morning, no footprints, no nothing, tells me he didn't make it home. But Justin did reach out to Sebastian's school. Listen to this.
An email from someone at the school. And I'm going to read it without exposing who it is. She didn't ask to keep quiet or anything like that, but I'm still going to do it. And it says, I work at Beach High School, and she says she was such and such of Sebastian's teachers.
Justin was kind of breaking up reading this, and it made me feel bad for him, and it made me feel bad that I put out that phone call about Stacey Wander and what Stacey Wander said about him. It was in our premiere yesterday and on the show yesterday morning. There are some nasty people out there, because you can tell Justin he's just a nice dude. He really is. Real Rock and Robin said, yep, new terms, stinky puss. Come on, stinky puss. And that just slipped out. I didn't even come up with that one on my own. Good old stinky puss.
Sebastian, the week of February 10th, KP, CP, and Seth were all at attendance. On the second day of Sebastian's disappearance, Tuesday, I got an earful about the parents and that meeting. The mild and meek KP that you see and hear in all these interviews was apparently a different person in that meeting. According to, I'm not going to say, she was obnoxious.
Okay, I'm going to be fair here. I'm doing my best. How many of you have ever marched into a meeting with a teacher, a principal, a coach, what have you, with in the back of your mind knowing that your kid probably did what they're being accused of, and you're probably in the meeting for legit reasons, and you're armed for bear, and you're ready to tell them, well, you better start doing your job better and understanding my child. So Katie being obnoxious in the meeting will then call me stinky puss. Let me tell you why. I can't tell you how many times I have gone to parent-teacher meetings, and I'm sitting there going, wow, really? Not my angel. No way. Not my baby. You got to be kidding me. Sadly, that's kind of what a mama does sometimes when they feel like their child's being attacked. And if in that meeting they were talking about Sebastian's behaviors and things like that, it really does all add up. It really does kind of add up that she felt threatened. Maybe she thought, hey, they're picking on Sebastian. They don't understand him. And so maybe she did chew their ass. Maybe she did. Maybe that's why the youth facility thing came up. I don't know. They didn't include me in this meeting. Fun to ski. So this makes me question, why didn't the facility let Seth know about the CPS defects cases in February after witness the fact that KP and CP were misbehaving, in my opinion. This is actually very common if you want to know the truth. Nationwide. Not just in Tennessee. It's kind of a nationwide thing. Many times the non-custodial parent is not alerted by I'll say the authorities about reports, because people file reports, they make phone calls that are called unfounded. So they just go, like our friend Pat says, poof, poof. They just go away, poof. So there's no reason to cause conflict in the family if they don't have any findings. When they do alert the other parent is when there's a finding. And if there's a finding, a lot of times there's a criminal charge. And that's what I've been looking for. With all these CPS cases, are they ever going to tell us exactly what findings are, and why were there not criminal charges? I think that's a fair question that somebody needs to find out. Christine Alaska said it was an annual IEP meeting, no reason for parents to be obnoxious. They were making a plan for his education. I totally agree with you, but I wasn't there. And if they weren't getting the right vibe from the teacher and maybe thought they were being told something they didn't agree with, I mean, I'm sure you can tell us, Madam Secretary, that sometimes parents don't always believe what they hear about their children. It happens. It does happen.
He went on to say that KP and CP blamed Seth for every single one of Sebastian's problems.
Of course he did.
Redacted said he felt utterly embarrassed for Seth. He said KP and CP treatment of Seth made everyone in the room uncomfortable. Additionally, the very first day of the disappearance, that Monday, 2/26/24, we had, how I say this.
Okay, well, Justin's collecting his thoughts because he's not uncomfortable reading this. Maria Gutierrez, hello, girlfriend. She said, I don't like CPS to keep failing children being abused. Oh, I agree. I agree. It needs to be a total overhaul. Total overhaul. They shouldn't be called in the first place, in my opinion. They shouldn't be called in the first place because no child should go without food, water, education, a Christmas present, clean clothes. They shouldn't be called in the first place. But that's what we're at. That's exactly where we're at. Brenda Pittman. Thank you. Seth should have been at that meeting also. And how many red flags were going on around these people until somebody decided to take the reins and say, it's time to do something else here. They wanted Sebastian to go live with Seth. Now, I do not understand this whole, it was going to take a while to get the online schooling put together. Again, I wasn't part of the email chain. I couldn't tell you. Seth stopped them from putting Sebastian in this youth facility. I'm just kind of wondering, and we can't blame people for not thinking things through because we know how life hits us, okay? We're basically a bunch of pins in the bowling alley. It's just like, boom, here comes the ball. We're knocked over. We get put back up. At what point was Seth going to put a stop to this nonsense? And the amount of things that he does not know that were going on is inexcusable. Totally inexcusable. But we're going to wind up having another Dawn and Candace Wells situation where nothing is going to happen to Chris and Katie. Nothing. Hold on. Christina said he was at that meeting. Well, I did not get that from this. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
I asked such and such at the school. Quote, hey, have you found the boy yet. At this point, no one was really panicking. It was just a case of a autistic child who'd run off. This teacher responded to my question and said, quote, "No, and something is up with that. They're telling us that he ran off without his shoes and without his phone. I'm telling you right now that I know there's no way he ran out of the house barefooted and without his phone. No way." He always had his belongings, his phone. Again, this was day one. There was no need to panic. But yet, such and such teacher had a gut feeling that something was off. Anyway.
Very sad that there's, these gut feelings and people are like, well, something's off, something's off, something's off. And now poor Sebastian's missing and he should be celebrating his 16th birthday. V. Slims, was Seth calling or contacting the school when Sebastian was with KP to check up on how Sebastian was doing? Did he attend teacher conferences? According to Christine Alaska, he was at this conference. And that really blows my mind. That really blows my mind that he would sit there and let them say that all of Sebastian's problems were because of Seth. When Seth wasn't, and again, not picking on Seth wasn't the constant presence in his life. Seeing Seth every other weekend wouldn't be the reason for any issue Sebastian was having. So, I'm sure at some point he will address that.
Thought you would find this interesting. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate the bravery.
Very sad. Very sad. Now, I do see a lot of people that are, coming unglued about this email, saying that they would sue the school. This is a huge violation of Sebastian's rights to, in a nutshell, tell tales out of school. I don't know the policy at that school, so I can't say. Some people would say I would never let my child go back to that school. I don't know. I think if it was shared with Justin, it was already shared with law enforcement. That's all I can say. But I do want to know about this new significant developments that are getting ready to come out. And then I'm going to get to why I think Sebastian would even want to run away if he truly just walked out that door.
The Sebastian Rogers case is one that is very close to my heart. I feel like Sebastian was failed by so many people, especially after hearing of 5 CPS reports against his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, with the last one being shortly before Sebastian vanished. It's troubling to say the least.
Here I am, pausing it again. Who the hell would stay with a man? I don't care if he can shoot pool with his dick. I don't care how much money he makes being Mr. King Crane. I don't care. Who the hell would stay with any man when you've got the government in your business because of the way he treats your son? with him? Who would even think about it? One report, I might say, well, that's one thing. But 5 and 1 in New Mexico, who would even stay with him? Who would even think that's safe for their child or themselves?
We also heard about how the Proudfoots wanted to send Sebastian to some facility. Makes us all wonder what really went on behind closed doors and what really happened to Sebastian. Well, AtNight Private Intelligence claims to have a development in the case. I noticed that online sleuths are divided, some believing them and hoping that this new information they claim to have is going to blow the case wide open, while others say that this entire thing is a hoax to make it look like they are doing something to help the case. The Green Hoodie Man and all their other claims are just made up. Anyway, they claim to have a new development now. They said that in the coming days, they will announce a significant breakthrough in the case. A team of nearly 24 licensed investigators in Tennessee alone, along with additional resources from across the nation and intelligence analysts, has identified a potential person of interest and is actively seeking their answers regarding Sebastian's disappearance. The team is rapidly working to locate this individual and will rely on the public's assistance in the coming days, given the alarming information received overnight regarding the night of February 25, 2024. It's hard to know what to believe, but it's been a possibility all along that Sebastian was taken out for a really fun day, to do all his favorite things, and then handed over to someone. It's been speculated that Sebastian never ever returned home after the Roadhouse. What do you guys think? Is AtNight really on to something, or is this really just a hoax? I pray for answers for Sebastian every day. Someone knows exactly what happened to Sebastian, and he didn't just walk out the door.
No, good, bad, or indifferent, people find, I hate to say it, we're talking about human beings, okay? They find them. We're not talking about sending a bunch of 10-year-old Boy Scouts out saying, hey, can you find this kid? This is what he looks like. They have very expensive and strategic equipment. It seems to me he's not where they had been searching, but they called that search off in like 2 weeks and they said, we're going to start investigating. And obviously that went nowhere. I think if he truly walked out that door, or if he truly got out of the car when Katie was going home, I think he made a conscious effort to not come back. We had our friend Terry Lynn on here who said, I hope he ran. I hope he ran far. I got chills when she said that. Zoots and boots. I've missed you, girl. She said, just a regular 9-to-5 family, says no one with 5 CPS reports to their household. Thank you. You got something going on if you've got 1, but you've got 5? This theory makes the most sense to me.
Welcome to this broadcast. Please let me know if you can hear me and see the screen, because I'm going to put a statement thing. We didn't see that. We didn't see that. We had to have the silence broken. And so that first interview, I concluded in terms of statement analysis that mother and stepfather were concealing information about the case and the time period of the information that's missing was just before he went missing, just before he, in their words, he left. And so that I knew immediately something was wrong with this case. But some other observations on the language. Mother and stepfather did not give an indication that they knew he was dead, at least in the language. With respect to others' opinions on that, I could be wrong on it, but I'll explain why a little bit. why that is. So there was nothing for about a week, no calling out, nothing. And then we saw this video where, to me, I'm not a body language expert, but it looked like a hostage video to me. Blink twice and tell me you're okay or you need rescue, where he dominated and he was in control of the information.
I love this. I love this. Not that I love that it happened to Sebastian or that he grew up in that environment. Nope, 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 not at all. The way that Peter is speaking about it when he says that interview on Nancy Grace looked like a hostage situation where Chris Pussfoot he took control of the whole interview, which was quite startling and upsetting to most of us that follow true crime, this channel, what have you. Because we have seen that in the case of Summer Wells, another child that was in the care of her mother. There is a missing timeline, a huge missing timeline. And the one that wasn't home decided to captain the ship. Uh-oh. Aggie's making it rain. Y'all get your umbrellas. It was a very, very, very tense, and I have a feeling oftentimes extremely uncomfortable, not nurturing environment for Sebastian.
After that, it is as if they have gone on a tour. And what it really is an apologetic tour. Apology meaning defense of the stepfather. Now, I'm going to comment on some of the interviews. I can't separate which one is which. There's been too many. So they got the memo. People were upset they weren't speaking out. Now they're speaking out all the time, and the content is so important. The content is this: Chris is a great guy, and people should mind their own business. And a common theme for him is, you better respect me. In all that I've heard, other than at times an interviewer directly asking, I've not heard Chris speak of what his stepson is going through while missing. Chris perceives himself as a victim, and he's ready to fight. I know that some of the interviews are very difficult to watch or listen to because the interviewers just talk and talk and talk, and they don't understand. They don't hold the information. He does. And now that he's allowing her to speak, she does. Let them speak. Let them speak for themselves. When someone asks a compound question, it allows the person being interviewed to pick and choose what he would like to answer. When they ask a multi-compound question or go on in a moralistic sense, okay, there's no reason to moralize in a case like this. A child is missing. We want the information. But when they ask a multi-compound question, very likely the subject of the interview, if he is showing deceit, which Chris is now, he's going to pick up on one of those things and use it for an answer because they're suggesting answers. So it's frustrating. They don't know, that they don't have training in that. And they'll go on about some personal experience and they think they're building rapport. Not with him. I said recently to someone, I've interviewed him 100 times. I haven't interviewed him. What I mean by that is I've hundreds of times interviewed controlled abusers. And almost always they're a step parent or a boyfriend. And his language gives us a lot. So this morning I was listening to yet another interview, and the usual frustration of some of it is tainted by the interviewer. Fast forward past the interviewer's monologue, it can be difficult to get any type of a pure answer. When he goes off for himself, then we get some. And this time, and you're seeing it more now, she's allowed to speak, and speak she does. So there's some things I want to talk about that, and some of the things they said that are revelatory. So I posted on X, which was Twitter, short commentary, a little bit of analysis, that sort of thing about my views of the case. In their initial interview, they were not just repetitive, which is sensitive, but they spoke reliably that he walked out the door. And of course, some with training will question about why a door, and the door is very sensitive. As they're speaking now, they're still staying to that. And consider they may be telling the truth. And what they may be concealing, what I believe they're concealing, is an altercation of some form and an escalation that was more than just that Sunday. That goes back and part of the history for at least, I think, at least 2 years. And I'll get to some of that questions. So one of the things I posted on X was that Child Protective Services should be fully engaged here in a full investigation, and they should interview everyone, including the paternal grandmother, Seth's mother. She has said she has information.
Say it louder. Say it louder. Open up a full-on investigation, and especially speak to Robin Rogers, who said she kept Sebastian's secrets. Do we have any grandmas in here? Just asking. If your grandchild told you that they're having issues at home, what would you do? How would you confront it? Would you just talk to your child and say, got to figure out what's going on? No bueno in my book. Or would you say, well, I guess I will call the appropriate people and figure out what's going on? Or would you just say, I'm going to keep the secret? What would you do? I think about the case. I've brought it up several times. Or Giulio Pupo and Morgan King. Renee Keene turned her own daughter in. Bye. See ya. You're going down the river. I raised you better than this, but I'm taking care of my granddaughter.
Information. She needs to be interviewed. She needs to be heard. She should have been interviewed by law enforcement, but no less, Child Protective Services know that. One of the things that happens with a missing child case, you say, well, why would Child Protective Services get involved in a missing child case? Because we don't know what caused the child to go missing. Now, let's say the child is a victim of kidnapping. Were the parents neglectful that someone was able to get into the house? Well, how could they be neglectful if someone broke into their house? Perhaps they were intoxicated. These are things that have to be known. Also, patterns of behavior have to be known. So the interviews would be with a missing child case to find out if that child is found, should that child go back to this house again? Now, I covered quite a bit a while back on Summer Wells' case, and the drug involvement alone would invite all sorts of trouble onto that property. And then there was the language from the father that indicates sexual abuse, and it was a really bad case, and she's still technically missing. So we want to know, is the child in jeopardy if the child returns to this home? So we need to know what the home was like. We need to know the quality of the relationship between mother and child. We need to learn the history. That means, in this particular case, mother, stepfather, bio dad, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, coaches, pediatrician, neighbors, anyone. And one of the questions asked, do you have concerns? And what you may learn is, yeah, we've had concerns. Or no, I don't let my own son go over there, and hear the reasons why. And so it's not accusatory towards anyone. It's the gathering of information. We need to know. And so in interviewing a pediatrician, for instance, have you had concerns? He opens the chart and maybe there's red marks there, or I've addressed them. And my follow-up question to the pediatrician would be, have you met the stepfather? What was your impression? Because he leaves quite an impression. So the Child Protective Services, Department of Children and Family, whatever it's called in different states, should have been involved immediately, and Seth's mother should have been interviewed right from the start, both law enforcement and in Child Protective Services. Most of my viewers know that I'm very slow to criticize law enforcement. Oftentimes there's things behind the scenes that we don't know of, and that sort of thing. This should have been done. This should have been done. The history is so important. I had said recently, there's no way this guy doesn't have Child Protective Services history. No way. And then I learned this morning from listening to that interview that apparently he set up, or he insisted upon, he does have TPS history. And what he said was, in 2 states, almost as if he's bragging about it, what he's doing is he's getting out in front of it. He'll answer the accusation before it hits him. And as people who are experienced with being investigated for child abuse understand, the Child Protective Services can't speak publicly about it. So the parent or step-parent investigated can say anything they want, and they do. And the caseworker, the department that handles this, they can't speak to it anyway. So there's nothing they can say. It's all one-sided. They can give information with police, though, and should. So what does the stepfather's language reveal? And one of my associates, Jenny, did an excellent job on we call it a psycholinguistic profile, a profile based on the language. And I alluded to this when I said, I've interviewed him 100 times, meaning that there's a pattern that emerges. He has the classic language of an abuser. And what I mean by classic is that it's
I think we can all complete this sentence for ourselves. CP, Chris Proudpuss, he has the classic language of an abuser. Now, some people will say, oh, he's an alpha male. He's an alpha male. Well, I mean, I'm married to an alpha male, and this alpha male, he, when he feels like he has to protect his home or me, or OJ or anything like that, then yeah, gloves are off. But he doesn't feel a need to talk down to, unless it's about my cooking sometimes, talk down to, hit with a belt, remove furniture, toys, game systems, anything like that, because that's not how you get through to people. So let's talk about that. Classic language of an abuser. And Katie sits there and she's military trained and puts up with it. Why? For the house? For the car? Because she might get invited on vacation by the Bower Sox sometimes? Why? And now look, Sebastian's missing. When this case first came out, I'm like, oh, they'll find him quick. He's got to be around there somewhere. That's always my hope, okay? Not trying to be naive. That's just my hope. When they said they were stopping the investigation, the search, and going into investigation, I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy. And very, very early on in the search, when they said more things had come to their knowledge and they escalated it to an Amber Alert, well, I think we know what that means.
Repetitive, it's patterned, and it's easy to spot. If someone's experiencing that, they're going to know right away. Yeah, there we go. And when he was talking this, well, for me it was this morning, but maybe it was last night when it was aired, he confirmed everything that Jenny wrote about. He confirmed it. About being crystal clear, that emphatic forcefulness, the aggressiveness, some of the descriptions.
Well, he also talked about the price of eggs in China. He said there was things he couldn't answer because of HIPAA violations. Nobody was asking about anyone's health. A laugh a day says, CP is an obnoxious and abusive jerk. KP is silent. She's not saying anything. Seth is, well, I don't know enough. And all this doesn't mean they did anything. This is so true. This is so true. Sebastian is missing. None of us know why or where he is. Now, Seth gets a lot of hell. He does. Let me tell you what. His memberships to his channel didn't really make some people happy. And I would think that the channels that he goes on quite a bit are probably going, oh, damn. He's got $50 memberships. And it really pissed a lot of people off.
People have used, including Jenny, combative, authoritarian. He is also acutely defensive. This is a guy that does not like to be insulted. And he went on and on and on. And he's done that defending himself. He ended up admitting that he has, nothing to hide. And then, of course, he doesn't answer questions. But in this particular case, he did about his marriages. This is his 5th marriage. And if you've seen some of the transcripts from Facebook, he's on his 5th marriage giving marital advice. That's insight into personality. I don't care how many times he's been married. I care about this poor kid. But what matters is what he's revealing. He's had 2 that he admits up to now, at least 2 CPS investigation, or at least in 2 states. I think there might be more. At one point, he was asked about Sebastian coming between them in a sense to protect his mom. And he gave a very strong laugh. A very strong laugh.
He did. He was. He seemed to find it funny. Don't forget what he said to Seth. Don't get pissed, but we can't find Sebastian. Now, there can't be any we in that if, according to the private investigators that Seth hired, Chris wasn't home. Roxy R said, my biggest question is who reported it to CPS? Was it the school or neighbors or both? That's what I want to know. Now, we did speak to a neighbor on here. We caught some hell on that one. And that was addressed. And a lot of people aren't going to come out and publicly say, oh, hell, I called. Oh, yeah, I called them. I called CPS. I said, this is what I saw. This dude's crazy. So what was it? Schools are mandated reporters. So where did all these reports come from? I'm not saying the reports don't exist. I'm not saying they didn't happen. I'm saying something's not adding up.
Get that. A strong laugh, and I listened to that. I said, "Oh, here's the tough guy. Here's the tough guy. Here's the guy that laughs off that someone would need to come between them." Oh, he's come between them. I think that might have come from the dad as he's speaking more. We also learned how much he dismisses questions that are relevant. They were intelligent questions being asked over several interviews. One question that he became very dismissive of was he was asked, do you lock your refrigerator? And he acted as if it was absurd. It was the mother talking about that all Sebastian ate was sugar, which means the glucose roller coaster for him and his dysregulated emotions. And so that was a good question to ask. It's one of the questions I thought, hey, someone's paying attention. Someone may have some experience there. Because there's all sorts of issues around locking a refrigerator. Sometimes it's for the child's own safety. Sometimes it's because they're being treated cruelly. But it's quite nuanced. It was a great question. Another person asked, how long have you been married? And what he says is that has nothing to do with the investigation. It has everything to do with the investigation. Your demeanor, your relationship, what the household is like. If you're saying that he walked out the house, and I think you're telling the truth there, if you're saying he walked out, we want to know why. And all these things can point to the reason why. The language where he keeps talking about how brash he is, he's brash while his stepson is missing.
Not just brash, he's combative, he's defiant, he has kind of a I don't care attitude. I love how this was stated. Obviously, Peter Hyatt, go subscribe to him, is a lot smarter than me. Okay, so if he did walk out of the house, why? It's not uncommon at 15 years old for kids to sneak out of the house, but you know what? They come back. They know where their bread is buttered. They come back. They come back. A laugh a day said, seems to me the poor boy had 3 crap parents, even though YouTube likes to present one of them as a saint. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen for a laugh a day? Yes. Can I get an amen? Look at that. Walking Dead, new to the channel. Look at her. A freaking men. So if he ran off, then why? Kids sneak out of the house. Kids sneak out of the house to go see their friends, hook up with their girlfriend, whatever they got going on. They come back home. There is no footprints. There is nothing to find him around there. Question, did he make it home? Did he make it home? And I'm going to assume one of the three of these parents are wrestling with a lot of decisions they didn't make when Sebastian wasn't missing. That's the reason I'm trying to be as fair as I can here.
And when someone says that, and you probably heard this in different phrases. Hey, I really tell it like it is. Okay, so you are someone who irritates others and brags about it. You're giving yourself a license to be that way, to be angry. No, this guy's got some real serious anger issues. He's controlling, he's aggressive. The mockery of Sebastian was rough, I think, to hear. Everything he wants to challenge and say, let's see the evidence, let's prove it, let's prove it. I've heard him speak a lot now for concern for himself. I haven't heard anything about concern for Sebastian. It doesn't mean he killed him. It means he cares about himself. I think Sebastian, what we're seeing in the language or hearing is what Sebastian lived under. And I think Seth is telling the truth that Sebastian didn't wear a diaper at his house, but did at the mother's house. That speaks to anxiety and could be worse. I don't want to get into that now, but in the least, it can speak to anxiety of being a 15-year-old under this super insecure, acutely defensive, controlling, narcissistic, aggressive, very little man, which may indicate that Sebastian either left on his own or was put out by the mom. I'm not beyond that one yet. Let me give you a reason. It's a hint. I don't know if it's true or not. It's a hint. Let's see if I can show it to you here. It's just a small thing that I heard her say audibly that I was concerned about. He went outside to take out the garbage because it was his chore. And what those that are in training will recognize is that there's much sensitivity there. Okay, she explains why he went outside, and you'll see this. This is the explanation of why he went outside. But then she doubles up on it. And I heard that it's now very sensitive, and it's often a sensitivity that is indicative of deliberately withheld information. Once you told us why he went outside, we're done. You didn't have to double up on it. She did. She felt the need to double up on it. And I thought to myself, did she lock him out without his shoes at the behest, I think, of the stepfather who shows no empathy? He has shown no empathy. He may respond when he's fed something.
Could she have locked him out or put him in the garage to sleep on the mattress with no shoes? We have heard from Seth. We have heard from another relative that have said Sebastian had a sensory thing going on. He did not like to be barefoot at all. So if he was going to hike down the road at, say, midnight, mom's yelling at him, the TV's too loud, dogs are barking, I don't know, he would put his shoes on. He would put his shoes on. If you all missed that interview we did with the neighbor, check it out. Check it out. So no footprints. Then what? Did someone carry him? Because Fat Puss Chris, he wasn't home. He was in Memphis. All of that's been verified. It was Katie and Sebastian. It's got to be one of two things. Someone carried him out and like no one's been able to find him. Unlikely. Or on the way back from the Texas Roadhouse, it was like, well, then you just get out and walk. Either way, no bueno.
But when he's speaking freely, when he's choosing his own words, when he is now off talking, he doesn't show empathy. Did he on the phone tell mother, lock him out? Is that why she has this, what we call like a hyper need to explain why he was out there? His stepson is missing. He called his stepson a liar. And Chris is the victim. CPS isn't going to answer that. So they went from not speaking to now not stop speaking. He also said on this, there's someone that does a YouTube channel that he doesn't like. And this is his theme, that he's giving these interviews to make things crystal clear, of course, the emphasis, but supposedly to get his stepson's name and face out there still. And then he says, but he won't do an interview with this one fellow because he's making money off it. And you see in some of these interviews, thank you for your $10. And, you know, it seems like a televangelist type of deal. And it's distasteful. Would that stop you from getting your missing child's name and face out there? Would you really care? And then he demands respect. He demanded it from Sebastian, and he demands it from the audience. He's making demands on people he has no control over.
And he demands it from Katie. Respect is earned. Respect is earned. This whole I'm not appreciated, well, appreciation is a little different, you know, because there's some real greedy ass, nasty people out there. Respect is earned. It's earned. And you cannot tell me that Chris Proudfoot was ever easy on Seth. You can't. I think he bullied him. I think he demasculated him. I think he held things over his head. We know that Katie is his fifth marriage. We got all that. However, Chris wasn't home. So does he have that kind of control on Katie to do what Peter theorizes by saying, well, he'll just lock him out of the house if he doesn't know how to act? Because there is something about that 3-hour phone call. There was something going on that they really needed to talk about.
He's trying to control the narrative. So my opinion on what happened is that he got locked out of the house, and both are responsible. And I think there's much more in terms of domestic violence and Child Protective Services involvement than his minimizing statement about it. Much more.
And Peter Hyatt is right. There is much more. You know why? Because we now know there was way more reports made from who? I don't know. But there's way more reports made than just what little tidbit they talked about with some crazy ex in New Mexico. But yes, I will say that Seth, perfect, imperfect, indifferent, all the above, whatever you want to say, he was at work and he's clutching, okay, onto every straw he can to try to get some sort of information about his son. I don't know what's going on with the cooperation between him and the authorities, but he's certainly keeping it out in the media.
Going through hell when I go home. Stop there.
We are nearing the 9-month mark of when 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen in Hendersonville. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lydia Fielder. The teen's disappearance sparked a nationwide search that now has included local and federal law enforcement as well as volunteers. Our Steve Mailing talked with Sebastian's dad tonight, who says he does not want his son to be forgotten.
I do not know the tears that you cry because your son is not standing next to you.
Nearly 9 months since Sebastian Rogers was last seen in Hendersonville. His father Seth says he's never given up looking for him.
I refuse to let my son be discarded like trash. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm hurt. But that doesn't really matter because I don't know what my son's going through.
Rogers says the past 9 months have been anything but easy. His days left searching for answers, and when he returns home,
my house is very, very quiet because my son's not there. I just want my son found and brought home.
While Seth hasn't given up hope, he feels others have now treated his son's case as a lesser priority. Recently, Doug the Bounty Hunter joined the search for Sebastian, adding a significant reward of over $150,000.
They haven't come out and told anybody anything since April. And them actually speaking with me, they'd have to actually answer their phone.
But Seth hasn't given up hope, holding prayer vigils and awareness events like the one Saturday in Clarksville. He wants people to know his son's face, say his name, and help bring him home.
And if he is seeing this, son, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep looking for you until I find you. And if you see this, call me. You know my phone number. I won't change it.
Well, and that's where we're at. Sebastian has a totally different intellect, okay? Me that can't remember passwords. I have to write them down, keep a spreadsheet, you name it. I pray to get hacked so the hackers can tell me my password. Sebastian retains things to memory. So after a while, don't you think he would call his dad? The number's the same. Again, if he just walked out of that house and never came back, why? Why? If he didn't make it home from Texas Roadhouse, why? And I think we're looking at it in a different way. I don't think it's Chris Proudfoot that's the bully. No, my friends, I don't. I think it's Katie. I think Katie holds all the reins over Seth, over Chris. I think she controls a lot more than people are understanding. You see, she tells them all what's going on. And of course, she's going to tell her husband first. Of course she is. I don't think it's so much Chris Proudfoot. I think he's been micromanaged by Katie for so long that when he gets a listening ear, he's got to buck up and be the man. And the way to show, oh, look at me, I'm the man around here, is by overstepping, pounding his chest. Oh, look at me. I am Chris. Hear me roar. But the whole thing comes down to it. It's Katie that runs everything. So these interviews and all this stuff, it's called CYA, covering their asses. I'm sure Seth can tell you a few things about her, but I go back to what our friend Susan said and has said. Love your child more than you hate your ex. If you sense something is going on at mom's house, dad's house, grandma's house, a friend's house, or whatever, put a stop to it. Just because you like having your weekend off, and no, that's not what I'm saying about Sebastian. I'm not Sebastian, but Seth. Just because you like that, or you get into this mode where, oh, I don't want to keep my child from. No. Sometimes you should. If not, your child's going to be kept from you because they could be missing or dead. We see it on this show all the time. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. We had a lot of people. We have new names, people we haven't seen in a long time. Look at this, like Zoot. Zoot girl, where you been? Zoot said, toxic codependency. I love that term. I'm going to use that. I'm writing it down right now. Toxic codependent. How do you spell dependency? Okay, thank you. All right, I got it. That's awesome. You guys are the absolute best. And I'll tell you what, can we have a round of applause? Lots of love for our mod squad. Because when they do it and they do it right. You've got to be kidding me. Again, you guys have a great rest of your Friday. I think I'm going to talk old DT Driver into doing a members live over the weekend. So if you're not a member, I suggest you grab that link and you get yourself one, because it is the month of December and we have a lot of love to give back. You guys are the absolute best. I will see you on the next round, whether it's over the weekend in the members live or on Monday at 9 a.m. Thank you for being the best chat, best community, and best friends anyone can have on YouTube.